project proposal formulation. So to Fabienne, the floor is now yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Juliana. Very good morning, very good afternoon to everyone. So I will share my screen. Can you see it? Yeah, it's okay?
Yes,
great.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, so I'll move there. So I think today's session is really about trying to give you some insights and deep diving a little bit more into project preparation process and how you're going to formulate a financially viable project proposal. Maybe just before starting, you know, I was attending the deep dive one. So I could hear also what you were discussing. I could hear maybe you lack data or you don't have the expertise to do the technical design or the financial analysis, for example. Or maybe sometimes you need also the validation from higher government level of government. So there are a number of issues that you may encounter at this stage of your project formulation, and this is totally normal. I mean, don't worry, and we are here to go through that together. So there is an issue of prioritization. Maybe as you go through, there will be some lack of consensus on technical solutions, also capacity issues to meet the financiers' requirements, governance issues. So all of this is part of project preparation. And this is what we are going to try to unpack a little bit together in the next 30 minutes. And maybe to start with, I will just try to give you the initial definition of what is bankability and project preparation. These are words that you've been hearing a lot, I'm sure. So let's try to see what exactly it means. So first of all, bankability. One important concept to understand for bankability is when a project will become bankable, whatever the source of financing is, private or public. It's when the risk return profile meets the investor's criteria and can secure financing to implement the project. So the risk return profile, it means really the trade-off between the potential returns and the risk of losing money. And this is really the key to bankability. So, well, sometimes bankability, it's also phrased as investment ready or finance ready. But this is really this trade-off that you have to keep in mind. And a financier will really consider a project bankable when it has high probability of success. We can never be 100% sure, you know, everything can happen. You know, last time in Myanmar, we had prepared everything and there was the coup. So the project never happened. So that's part of the risk. But when you prepare your project, you are going to look at all those risks. And so it needs a high probability of success. And this project is expected to generate sufficient cash flows to cover the cost and recover the investment, or the project has to be implemented by a credit-worthy public entity. So credit-worthiness is very important. And lastly, the confidence. This is a key aspect also, because a precondition to bankability is project preparation. Because whatever the financier is, all of them have different criteria, but they will all need the confidence that the project is financially viable and the regulatory, environmental, social, and economic factors are unlikely to prevent the project from being successfully completed. So now, we have to think of how can we work on that to make sure that we increase the bankability of the project. There are 3 levels of factors that we can influence, work on. the project, the city level, and the national level factors. If I start from the higher level, national level factors, there are some foreign currency risk, especially if there is like borrowing in other currency. Also the intergovernmental architecture that is between your municipality and maybe the province and the national level, and how the fiscal transfer are organized. So this is really country dependent, and this is what we usually call the enabling environment. So this is quite important, and I'll get back to that after, but you have less influence on this. Then we have the city level factors. So first, the city administrative and technical capacity. So this is how you are going to manage the preparation, the implementation, the operation of the project. So this has a major impact on project preparation. And the financial fundamentals are equally important. This is for investors, they are going to look at that. What are your financial management capacity, your accounting systems, transparency, maybe budgeting and expenditure management, and your procurement system. So this has to be looked at also in details. And lastly, the political support. I'm sure you've already heard about that, but a project will not go forward if there is not political support from your leadership. And this is particularly important because the project timeline may extend beyond, the political term. So maybe you will start preparing the project, but it will be the next mayor who will actually cut the ribbon. So this city level factors means working on capacity, on partnerships, on policy, and this is very important. This you have influence on this directly as a municipality. And then we have the project characteristics. That is project cost, very important because that shapes the risk return profile of your project. Revenue potential, the benefits. Many investors are going to look at the benefits. For example, if you do a public transport project, maybe it will improve the travel time and the capacity of a corridor, but it will also have positive impact on job creation, noise and air pollution reduction. Maybe it will spur private investment along the corridor. So this is things we have to look at. And the risks, any kind of risk, technical, political, financial, social, this is important to go through it. And this is project preparation. So this is what we are going to look even more a bit into detail, because this is where you're about to embark on that. So what is project preparation? On one side, we have the city's needs. That means you need a water supply system. You need to improve your wastewater system. And we know there is an investment gap. On the other side, we have financing options. I think in the introduction of the series, you've been through all the different options that are out there that exist. And to make sure that we bridge this gap, it goes through good project preparation. So project preparation will help you prepare this pipeline of bankable projects. And when there are bankable projects, financiers will be interested to come. So the project preparation is really when you define your project concept, you study, and you refine it to the point that it becomes bankable. This is very important for the project delivery process. And it is also a way from early stage, because we are quite at the beginning of the process, to aggregate cooperation efforts, commitment, consult wide range of stakeholders. This is crucial. So just to summarize, why is project preparation important? It will help you respond to the two key elements of bankability. I think this is what we discussed also during Deep Dive 1, impact and finance. Both are very important. So as you will go through the project preparation process, that will help you develop the project narrative, the rationale, why you are doing that. You will also make very important decisions on costs, on technical design, on risk mitigation measures. So this is crucial to make sure that you go thoroughly through that. You will build your capacity and, of course, again, secure the investor's confidence. This is very important. So if you have any question, please don't hesitate to interrupt me. I'm happy to take any question now or at the end of the session. And if no question, maybe I'll go to the second part of the presentation where we are going to look a bit more into detail at what is the scope and content of project preparation. So these are the project stages. You have your planning, you prepare your project, you implement, you monitor, and then you're back to planning. What is here in greenish, is more detailed, these are more detailed phases of the project preparation. So at this stage, now you are starting to collect your data, you're securing commitment, you have already probably some kind of planning, maybe climate action plan or city plan. And the idea is to move from your climate strategy to the concept design. So, and to define your project. And then you will move to pre-feasibility, feasibility, and then structuring your project. And after, this is just after that, there will be implementation. That means construction of the infrastructure, operation, maintenance, and then monitoring and evaluation. And throughout all these projects, you will also work together with national level stakeholders on the enabling environment, develop policy, capacity, knowledge partnerships, and maintain regular stakeholders consultation. So this is all throughout all the project development cycle. Now, maybe I'll just go through a little bit in detail of this early stage of project preparation, where you are at the moment, from what I understand, at the project definition stage. This is when you are identifying your desired outcomes and output, doing some prioritization. So you compare with alternative projects, you rank according to your climate action plan, you identify your partners, you do data collection, you have some initial risk and impact assessment. You also can set up your advisory team, and maybe you can test or assess some investors' sources. And so this is what you are going to do now. And after you move on to pre-feasibility, then the pre-feasibility is going to justify why the project's intervention were chosen instead of other options and provide clear overview of the benefit and co-benefits. And that will give confidence that the project should be assessed in more detail, because that seems to be a credible business case and a potential for implementation. So I've went through the city profile and your initial project idea. I've seen that there are a lot of ideas about solid waste management. So just to give things a bit more concrete, I hope you can see it. Maybe it's a bit small, but you will have the material in any case. But this is an example of when you go to do a pre-feasibility or a feasibility, depending on the depth, the level of detail, you will have to go through all these issues, surveys and data. For example, you cannot do a waste to energy plant or saying, I'm going to recycle, if you don't know what your waste is today in terms of quantity of composition. You will have also to look at how your sector is working today. in terms of risk and climate assessment, or also in terms of GHG emission and reduction, what is the potential? Environmental and social due diligence, very important. Are you going to clean up or recover some existing land? You need to assess the different alternatives that you have for the land you are considering, for example, for a landfill. Technical options, obviously, this is important. Capacity and governance, how are you going to manage this new facility? Financial and economic analysis, how you are going to link that to financial, and of course, again, stakeholder consultation. So this is just a very broad overview, but this is just to tell that it is really, there are several things to consider, not just financial. Now to go back to the enabling environment, this is everything that is non-project specific, and this is the capacity, institutional and policy development that helps the city projects become bankable. And here it's the role of the national government is very important. And this is why I think it is very important that as a city, you maintain very close link and dialogue with national level stakeholders, especially in Asia, where decentralization frameworks are not so mature, and a lot of things are going through the national level, your ministries. It is important that they are aware of what you want to do, and you also explain your issues. Enabling environment, that means working on regulatory approaches, how to encourage private sector development or green investments, to support institutional reforms, to also improve the institutions that are going to be relevant to your project. That can be your water supply company or your waste management company, or even the municipality, to make sure that those institutions that will be in charge of the project have the necessary managerial capacity that will not cause any obstacles during implementation. And enabling environment is also related to consensus building. So that means speaking and addressing multiple stakeholders' view. We may face some lack of consensus. So all the time during the project preparation, you will have to speak with different stakeholders to make sure that there is a consensus on the project so it can move forward. This is a question that is very practical, but I mean, the response is also how long and how much the response is. It depends. So it's a bit tricky, but I mean, it's true. From your point of departure, which is at scoping and concept stage, until the end of the project preparation, so before implementation, it can take from 1 year to 2.5 years. So that will depend on the technical depth of your preparation. If you do just pre-feasibility or a very in-depth feasibility study, the quality of discussion with stakeholders, the complexity of financing mechanisms, or if you do something very innovative, the maturity of the enabling environment, and your own capacity. So I cannot tell you today, oh, in 1 year it will be ready. It really depends on your project and many factors. And again, also in terms of cost, it can go from maybe $100, $150, $1,000 for some short pre-feasibility study, up to $1 million when you have to design, for example, a very complex transport network. And this money is going to pay for experts and specialists in different disciplines, as I've mentioned, environment, finance, technical, and so on. So there are different steps also that you will follow. But don't worry, you are not alone, because they are project preparation facilities, and their role is precisely to help you. So I will go through that. Unless you have questions, I'm also happy to take question at this stage if you want. Or we can go back to some slides after. If not, then I will move on to explain that to do all this project preparation that I've presented to you, you can find some support. So a project preparation facility, this is an organization or project or an institution that supports cities, supports you to develop bankable and investment-ready projects. And they support activities to connect the project with finance, can provide technical, sometimes financial support, and it depends also on the stage and the sector of your project. There is a very good directory that has been put up by the Cities Climate Finance Leadership Alliance, which is a platform that gathers many project preparation facilities. I recommend you to take a look at this directory. This is a very good resource, and then after you can also go to directly to the selected facility. Before getting support and contacting all the facility, you need to check their eligibility criteria, because each financier, each facility will have their own criteria. So I know it's a bit tricky, but this is it. So start checking if you are from an eligible country, if a city can apply, or if it has to go through the national government, maybe, I don't know, the Ministry of Finance or Ministry of Environment. What are the eligible sectors? What stages are covered? Because sometimes they will help only at the later stage of project preparation. And the GAP fund, for example, today that you're going to talk to, is more focused on early stages. You should check also if the fund, if the facility is tied to an institution. Typically, the ADB, if they provide you grant money to prepare a project, most likely this is then to prepare an ADB operation alone. So this is tied. And sometimes there is a timeline for application or a call for proposal. So at this stage, where we are now, I recommend that you check the eligibility criteria, and as much as possible, you align the priorities to the financial, to what they are asking for. And after it goes through this EOI or application, as they call it, and there is a back and forth between you and the facility until the time they award you for this support, and then you can start the project preparation. I have made a selection of programs and facilities that are active in Asia. Not as you see in this table, not all of them intervene at the same stage. Some are specializing in early or later stage. Usually all of them will provide support to the city, like local capacity development, and they will support various activities. So for all these facilities, then I have made a table. I will not go through this table in detail, but you will see that there are links, and I have also made all the eligibility criteria. This is a first material, but my advice would be that you should also consult them. Usually they will provide you technical assistance and grants, and it's quite multi-sectoral. So the thematics cluster of the SGAC waste, wastewater, transport and mobility, data management, and tourism are usually covered. So you will see in the table what is in purple is usually tied to a fund or a bank. So be aware of that. And also keep in mind that for multilateral banks, a project should have a critical size. So MDB will not finance a project preparation if then the cost of the total project is 2 million. Maybe for smaller ticket size, it's better to see with other stakeholders. Now I have put a little green star for what I think at this stage, but this is an assumption because I don't know in detail all your project. I think could be a good fit for you in terms of the facilities that could help you. But again, you should speak and consult with the targeted facilities before submitting your concept, because usually they are here also to help you better frame your request, your proposal. So this is the table. You will see that there is the program, what kind of support they provide, all the links for the application forms or process, and whether it can be a city or if you go through your national government. So CDIA, I think you've spoken with Kathleen, could be also a good fit. For example, the GAP Fund, I mean, you have here representative, so this is excellent for you. ECLAI also, ECLAI has a program and the call for proposal is starting in March. So they can also help you connect and do some matchmaking. The SCF has also some interesting technical assistance for you. UNCDF, of course, you know them because they are also supporting this program. And I think for cohort 3, they are already thinking of providing this technical assistance. They have very good tool and support for you. And one thing that is very important, I think, is to consider also the national programs, because of course the international organizations, this is their mandate to support you. But look at what you have at the national level, because I have, for example, provided here PTSMI, which is the Indonesia National Development Bank. They also provide technical assistance. They finance pre-feasibility study, detailed design. They help to mobilize resource and to advise also on the type of financing. So if you don't have a national development bank in your country, maybe if you speak with the Ministry of Infrastructure or equivalent, they can have programs that also help you prepare your project. And most likely your project is going to be financed by national level finance. I mean, this is just from my first look at your project, but it really depends on the size, many things. But if it's financed by national level stakeholders, it's also quite logic that you go also through their support. So really consider what you have also available in your country. Now, I will not spend too much time on this because this is going to be the exercise that you will do with the GAP Fund, but this is now very important to think of how you're going to develop your project proposal. So just a few quick advice on the description of the project. You don't have to, the key challenges is 1 paragraph maximum. Usually we know what are the issues, we know what are the challenges, but what we want to hear, what investors want to hear are your objectives and what you want to achieve in terms of outcomes, in terms of positive change. Also very important is to explain the co-benefits and the expected environmental and socio-economic impacts. So you see, it's not all about finance, it's also about impact. And third point, make sure that you show in your proposal that your project is aligned with some sort of strategic urban or climate plan or framework. It shows that there is long-term political support. Then a few recommendations. You don't have to write master thesis in your project proposal. That can be short. This will help you demonstrate your commitment and credibility to the facility and then to the potential investors. And last month, the Bankers Without Boundaries went through a tool that I find very useful. And I would recommend you also, you go through their different criteria, and because that can help you also think on to assess your project readiness. So again, it's okay to be at the start of the cycle. Any city, any project has been through that. So the facility is here to help you to go more in depth. Also, it's okay if you don't have all the data and all the figures. It should not be an excuse to stop you. You can use proxies, assumption, and as you will go through the preparation, you will get more data and more precise information. And please be very transparent and ready to share information and documentation. The experts, the specialists that will come to help you, they will need to have access to your data, to your maps, to your financial statements. Sometimes we find cities that tell us, yes, of course, no problem, you can come. And then when we ask like the accounting figures, we struggle a little bit. So be ready to share this information. Again, show that your project is a priority. Focus on the objectives and not only the challenges. Especially if you go through the international donors, the contribution to climate change is a very important condition. So you can start estimating. It's okay if you don't have all the specific numbers, but estimate the mitigation and adaptation benefits. As much as possible at this stage, at the very early stage, elaborate on the impacts of your project, estimate the beneficiaries. Direct, that means, I don't know, like, for example, this number of person will have wastewater treated, and then that will indirectly benefit to a healthier environment for larger population. And start discussion on the financial part with national level, with potential investors. And don't hesitate to seek support to prepare the proposal. You can definitely do it. So as a conclusion, because I think I'm a bit beyond the time, you need three critical elements: strategic alignment and engagement. So speak with Ministry of Finance, with your line ministries, liaise with them, align your climate action plan with the national climate goals, and speak with the financier to understand their priorities. Work on your internal capacity to show that you are a viable, a credible investment partner. So at this stage, what you can do is maybe link the strategic, spatial investment and budget planning, work on the credit worthiness, improve the peer learning and capacity development, and then the feasibility of the investment project. The detail will depend on the nature and the project size, but both the financial sustainability and the impacts are very important. So with that, I conclude and I stop speaking. I'm happy to take questions, and I thank you for your attention.